What's going on, everybody? This is the blockchain backer bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. And today we're taking a look at the Bitcoin price chart and the altcoin market. Yesterday, Bitcoin broke down, falling over $4,000, taking the altcoin market with it. This is something we talked about in detail in yesterday's video. So if you haven't checked that one out, I highly advise that you go watch this. It's 30 minutes long, deep diving into what's going on in the market, my thoughts on what I see going on here. So after spending 1 month and 1 day range bound, Bitcoin broke down again. Yesterday, we talked about what bear market structures look like. And again, my opinion on this is that this is a bear market for Bitcoin. So everything that I do is around the idea of bear market. Bear markets are incredibly difficult to navigate. There's many different structures that can happen in bear markets as they move down, but everybody's got to make up their own decision and say, am I playing this thing as a bull market or am I playing this thing as a bear market for Bitcoin? And there's plenty of people out there who will give you the bull market theory, but I do navigate it as Bitcoin being in a bear market. This might have been my thought process for quite a while. And in yesterday's video, we really talked about this structure going on in here for Bitcoin and that it just has a very bearish, grueling, grinding style structure that we've seen happen with these types of structures back in 2018 during the bear market of Bitcoin. And that these things can just keep on creeping on down and creeping on down and creeping on down. And that's what we saw happen here yesterday afternoon. Now, what's interesting is we've been looking over there at the altcoin market as well, looking for that final flush to happen in the altcoin market. In particular, over here on XRP, we were looking for this for a couple of weeks now at this point. Back when the prices were back in here, you can watch my XRP videos. The thing that I was looking for was XRP to break up, take out this price level, and then shift into the standard formation of what we always see, where we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for wave 5, a roll back up to wave 4 within wave 5 for wave 6, and go on to 7. And we've been discussing this for several weeks at this point. We do have the structure that has played out in here. Wave 7 has come in here for XRP at this point. That's a really positive sign for me for XRP to start getting hopeful that the Wyckoff accumulation is now complete. Again, we'll play this from back on December 21st, explaining what these structures look like in typical Wyckoff accumulations. And in particular, this is looking way more like Wyckoff accumulation to me with the automatic rallies that we see in here. This is precisely what Wyckoff accumulation looks like. The thing I'm really waiting for to see to say, hey, do I still think it's Wyckoff accumulation, is if we can take out that top right in there. But what we would usually see is this, and then what do I always talk about, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's typically how a Wyckoff accumulation will end, is that you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, rolling back up to wave 4 within wave 5, and then 7, and then that's the end of the accumulation, and then the price is free to go back up. And so that is what has played out over here on the XRP price chart. We can see that the top was taken out. We rose back up. We can do all of our counts. We can clearly see when we put this even on a smaller time frame so we can see these a lot clearer. We have our 1, 2, 3. We'll get rid of that so we can see it even better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right in here, and then we roll back up to wave 4 within wave 5, and then we go on and have 7. So that's the missing piece that we've been talking about for the last week, is that we still did not have that 7th wave come in just yet, like we were looking for back over here. And now we can see that we have had that happen. And then again, on December 29th, we made a video discussing about the progress of where we were at that point, and that we had done the 5 waves within wave 5, still missing 6 to roll back up to wave 4 within wave 5. And then we needed to have our final flush. And well, we have it, guys. So, look over here. There's wave 4. There you go. There's the roll back up, and then there's your final flush. So that's optimistic, right? All conditions are met there for Wyckoff accumulation. And so begs the question of, all right, so what happens with Bitcoin in here, right? Do we just keep meandering on over here and the altcoin market slowly turns its way back up? Or is there a trick up the sleeve in Bitcoin, which I'm about to show you here in a second as well? Now, first, I want to address that there's a big sentiment issue out there when something like this happens, right? So that means a lot of the general public will turn bearish. A lot of the toxicity will show up because people will now just have doubt in anything. So welcome to the bear club. A lot of people, welcome. Hi, how are you? The problem with being in the bear club is so people think this time is different, right? So we're going to address one thing real quick because I still stick with my mindset that the altcoin market has the potential for this run to happen in it still, while I don't think Bitcoin is. And so, if you go on Twitter, you're going to see a lot of people saying this time is different, the altcoins are not going to run. But at the same time, you have to understand a lot of people were screaming this time is different, Bitcoin's going to $100,000. And I argued that this time is not different. Bitcoin is not going to 100K. Nothing indicates that Bitcoin's going to 100K. Previous super cycles do not indicate that it would go to 100K. Fibonacci extensions indicate Bitcoin would not go to 100K. Your best shot on Bitcoin was maybe to get to like $85,000. We showed a bunch of measurements that could have taken it out to 76,500. If you went to the 4.236 extension to pinpoint nail it, would have gotten you to about $74,000. You had a bunch of stuff just really holding you back between $68,000 and 85. So 85 was more of like if we did a big repeat of what major super cycles can look like. But in the end, that was your range, and between 68 and 85 is where it was just going to get toppled. But the general public thought this time was different. We're going to 100K. Same thing goes on right now. This time is different. There's going to be no altcoin run. Yeah, we've seen big altcoin runs happen at the end of every Bitcoin bull run, but this time is different. We're not going to have one happen this time. But my argument was this time is not different for Bitcoin. It's not going to 100K. And my argument still is this time is not different. There's still the opportunity for the altcoin market, and we're going to talk about it here quickly before we start moving forward. During the 2017 and 2018 bull market, the altcoin market went ripping and roaring right into Bitcoin's retrace after the top had come in. We have no retrace that has happened for Bitcoin at this point. So in 2017, 2018, it was this moment in time where the altcoins went flying. It's where Cardano went from 25 cents to over $1. It's where XRP reached out to hit over $3. It's where the majority of the altcoin market really ripped and roared into that moment, which we can see indicated here by overlaying the altcoin market on top of Bitcoin, that even though Bitcoin had topped and had crumbled, once Bitcoin's bottom was in, the altcoins were able to step up for 5 waves to go even higher, significantly higher. With what is happening for Bitcoin right now, we have no retracement coming in right in here. So long as there is no retracement, there's no way to know currently if nothing's going to happen with the altcoin market. If Bitcoin starts roaring back up and going up to a 618 Fibonacci retracement, a 702 Fibonacci retracement, in a nice grinding way, well, guess what? Yeah, then things are different. There's something different fundamentally happening in the market. But right now, we haven't reached that phase yet of what we've seen happen at cycle tops where the altcoin market can rip and roar. We've seen in each circumstance of a cycle top that the altcoin market rips and roars. And we also know that into the retracement, a major pop has come for the altcoin market. But currently, we don't have the condition happening right now of a retracement happening for Bitcoin. So until we get to that point, we can't sit here and say this time is different, nothing's going to happen with the altcoins, because we don't have the same condition happening. If we had the exact same condition happening in Bitcoin right now of a retracement coming in and nothing happening to the altcoins, yep, you'd see me sitting here saying this is not looking good. But we're not even in that yet. So for me, everything's just fine. One thing to also know is that, I've been looking for this to happen in Bitcoin, been expecting this to happen in Bitcoin, and I haven't been in the camp that Bitcoin's going to go firing off into some massive explosive euphoria moment, but that Bitcoin would barely set a new all-time high and then turn over on itself. Now we wait for the big retracement to come in and to see what the altcoin market does into the retracement. Been studying the altcoin market, looking at the Wyckoff accumulations, been looking at crashing structures to count out the waves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All those things have been matched. Now it's time to see what's going to happen when Bitcoin starts going into a retracement. So begs the question, are we going to see Bitcoin just continue meandering around like it did back in here, waiting for this retracement to come in over here, and that's our retracement to watch for? Or is there potential for this to play out a little bit different than what we see happening here on the bottom of the screen? Like I've always said, bear markets are incredibly difficult to navigate, and figuring out the structures of them can be quite difficult. But what we can do is go back and look to what past ones have looked like to try to figure it out. So far, Bitcoin's playing right along in the lines of what these structures look like. So long as it keeps playing like this and going like this, waiting for a retracement to come in here once Bitcoin does find its low and starts pulling its way back up, this is the moment we're all waiting for based on what has happened in the past. At least it's the moment I'm waiting for. One of the things we've been talking about over the course of the last couple of weeks is that, hey, we've studied crashing structures before. There's ways that it can move way up here and then move its way all the way back down here and then move its way back up here as well. So what we saw happen over there on the Ford Motor Company chart 23 years ago when it had this exact same topping structure that Bitcoin has going on here. And have we ever seen anything like that happen in Bitcoin before? Even though it's fallen, it still is doing precisely what we've seen happen before for Bitcoin during bear markets. Is there another bear market structure where it just completely flips around and goes on to do that and still pulls its way back down? And I posted that over here on Twitter last night. Picking every move on smaller time frames can prove to be difficult, and we have seen something like this before. I'll show it to you, unbiased if it'll happen, but it lines up for a 702 retrace. Still, long-term bear trend, but it's a retrace. Would give alts their spring, which is what we've been talking about with XRP and what we talked about yesterday before this fall happened, is that if we look back to this bearish time period that took place back in 2019 and 2020, and study the structure of just how it worked its way down, I feel like focusing right over here on this point in time right here, in which we can see these structures lining up incredibly well. And I'll make a full screen here so we can see how that played out, but you can see how it did this same thing. You see the fall area that occurred right in here, where this price fell to down in here, and structurally what it did before it went and did a short squeeze. So what did we have? Long squeeze followed by a short squeeze. You may hear people refer to the term Bart Simpson patterns. Now, I hear Bart Simpson patterns used just casually like they're okay, but you have to understand the Bart Simpson pattern was something that was derived from the 2018 bear market, and it really came from this time period right in here. The market was very bored, very sideways, but what kept happening were liquidations up and down, and Bart Simpson patterns is where this derived from. This is not something that occurs in bull markets, it's something that occurs in bear markets. So when you hear people saying, oh, we're just doing a Bart Simpson, who cares, not a big deal. Well, that's from bear markets. We didn't do that stuff in the bull market. We only did that stuff in the bear market. So in the end of 2020, heading into 2021 with the bull market of Bitcoin, we weren't doing Bart Simpsons as we are heading our way up. But in bear markets, we do Bart Simpsons because the market knows how to torture people. Long, sideways price action with volatility squeezes in either direction. So they're Bart Simpson. And if you don't understand why it's a Bart Simpson in here, let me just go ahead and give you a little bit of a demonstration so you can get a better idea of why they call that the Bart Simpson. And there you go. There's his hair. There you go. And now you have Bart Simpson. So anywho, point being, even though I've waited 2 years to be able to show off my Simpsons drawing skills, it would not be unusual to see something like that happen in this circumstance. Yesterday we were talking about how, okay, there's a buildup of leverage in system. That's what I hear people saying all the time. Open interest is at all-time highs. But we looked over at the Bitfinex chart, right? And we noticed that shorts were at all-time lows, right? But what happens, guys? Look, the price falls, people start shorting. So that's the thing that we've looked for historically, is that retail traders have a tendency to short the bottom. So we see that people are now starting to finally short Bitcoin. That's good. That's a change in sentiment, at least for some type of relief rally for those who are potentially looking at exiting their position or, of course, cheering for a bull market. But in the end, if a move like that did occur, it would still be a Bart Simpson. It would still be bearish, and it would just be a quick move to the upside. So whether this continues to play out or not, in the end, the thing still looking for is the bigger retracement coming in later. And whether or not we do get something like this happening, where it shoots back up to a 702 Fibonacci retracement from this price level, like we've seen happen, in the end, it would still be about waiting for price to pull back down, pull back up to that same price level once again. And this would be the whole altcoin market watching point before the price tumbles on its way down. The thing is, if something like this happened, it would absolutely trigger euphoria in the market for Bitcoin, that everything is good, we're flying to the upside. Hey, check us out, we've broken back up to the upside, we're finding support down here on this price level, everything is looking good. But it's trying to stay a couple steps ahead of the curve, right? Understanding that this is all still doing what bear markets do, and that they can be incredibly difficult to navigate. They can have different structures, but the long-term thing you look for, at least that I look for when in the bear market, is what happens at the retracements. And if we got a straight line up like this, even though this would be a 702 Fibonacci retracement, one could argue, see, that's it. We've done the retracement. It's over. Nothing happened with the altcoin market. We're all done, right? I mean, right? Technically, right? Bitcoin hit its top, Bitcoin pulled back, Bitcoin did a 702 retracement in a straight line. Nothing happened with the altcoin market. This time is different. See? Blockchain backer, I got you, man. Nothing happened. But it's because I recognize that this is an actual possibility. And in this possibility of something like this happening, I would still be watching for that to occur. So for me right now, it's just a waiting game on the altcoin market, waiting for something like this to come in for the altcoin market or waiting for that. Now, what would be super interesting if this thing did play out just like this is that it would probably give us our spring happening. We waited for this to happen over here on XRP for the spring, the full Wyckoff accumulation to come in. We expected a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We expected it to roll back up to wave 4 within wave 5 for wave 6, and we just sat back patiently waiting for wave 7 to come in. And boom, there it is. What would happen if Bitcoin just fired straight up? That sounds like it would give us our spring at the end of our Wyckoff accumulation. So I don't know which one's going to happen. I'm showing these to you and how they've played out. And what I'm showing you is structures of bear market trends. So not to be confused, this is all just trying to navigate a bear market for Bitcoin and navigate to getting to the real retracement rally for the altcoin market. I know people love to go twist my words over there on Twitter and everywhere to say I'm saying different things. This is navigating a bear market for Bitcoin. That's all it is. And while I have already exited my 65% for my Bitcoin, you would better believe I would be exiting here if I hadn't yet. So if something like that happened, I personally would be exiting. I'm not telling you what to do. I never tell you when to buy or you when to sell. You're responsible for hitting the buy and sell button for yourself. But I always tell you what I would do. And if that happened, I would just be like, thank you, baby Jesus. I'm out. But that's me. But either way, the thing we're really looking for here is to try to get to that real retracement rally, that grind up, the one that we see over here with the blue oval over the top of it. This is the main thing I'm watching for when it comes to altcoin run. In the circumstance of this bearish time period, the retracement that comes in, it would be the oval looking for the altcoin run. And in particular, really just waiting for the retracement to come in to find that top. So once it would get to that 618 Fibonacci retracement level, that's where I would start saying, warning, 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 danger, 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 altcoin market. Because that's what we've historically seen into the retracement, altcoins flying. But until then, Bitcoin's just behaving like Bitcoin does in a bear market. And right now, we're just waiting for it to tell us which one are we doing. We're going to keep making it nice and slow for Bitcoin, killing sentiment, reducing volatility, or are we going to make this thing super volatile like we've seen happen as recently as 2019? So that's what we're waiting on right now. When this happened last time in 2019, we can see how much time was spent down here. It did break down. It stayed down here for an entire day, and then it was the following day that it ended up breaking up. Timing is impossible to predict. I always say it. But I'm showing you how this worked out here in the past. So the big fall happened yesterday, obviously. In the circumstance of all of this, it would be like staying here all day. And staying at these lower prices all day long, and then tomorrow breaking out. So I have no clue how long that would take if it does take to play out like that. But for those who are thinking, hey, it's got to fire right back up right away, we could see what happened back then. It did stay down there before anything ended up occurring. But that is not to be confused with hopium. We deep dived into this yesterday. It's still following it. I do just know how this market operates, and if there was some big $15,000 to $20,000 candle that came in Bitcoin over the course of a day or two, boy, a lot of confusion would come to the market. And I wanted to just show you examples of how that has happened before, still in a bear market with the Bart Simpson stuff happening. But either way, the grand picture of it all is that I'm waiting for a retracement to come in for Bitcoin, something along the lines of this or along the lines of this. But if something like this did happen, it would not spook me in regards to the altcoin market if we saw a retracement come in for Bitcoin like that and nothing happened with the altcoin market. It would still be about waiting for this structure to truly play out and still get back to its retracement levels. But the good news and the exciting news is about what happened over here on XRP. And so we saw the whole Wyckoff thing play out. It's precisely as it was expected to be, as described 16 days ago. So Fingers crossed we're there. But on that note, we'll wrap this thing up. I said I was going to take today off, so obviously we had a big price action needed to be addressed and talked about, so I will be taking tomorrow off. But otherwise, I'll still be around on Twitter, I'll still be out there, and if we do have something else significant happen with Bitcoin, we'll come back and talk about it. But if we just hang out right here where we're at right now, plans will stay the same. But on that note, I'll wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're looking for something to do, you can check out bcbacker.com. It's a course I put together where I deep dive into the previous Bitcoin bull runs, the previous altcoin market cycles, tying them all together to show how the cryptocurrency market has worked in the past. This is structured a lot like my YouTube channel. It's not like a PowerPoint presentation. It's me going through charts and talking about the cryptocurrency market in the same manner that I do on my YouTube channel. I talk about my personal exit plans in here. I talk a lot about mathematics and percentages and why those are so important to me. And I teach you how to set up your own charts and your own indicators within TradingView and CoinTrader Pro. There were some recent updates in here to Ethereum and to the blockchain backer exit plan. And the most recent market update was included in there on December 31st. And you can check out all of this educational content over here on bcbacker.com. You can follow me over here on Twitter at bcbacker. And I want to thank you so much for watching my channel. If you could, please like this video and give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you could be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick me up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.